I keep seeing that there were hidden things from your son.
I found 5 suicide letters that he had written.
Your son almost died 5 times. That's what those suicide notes show you. But you saved him every single one of those times. He tells me every single time he wrote that letter, those letters, you single-handedly were the one that kept him alive here in this world. This is a really tough reading to do when I'm connecting with your son. First of all, he just came through and he said to me, Matt, he says, you need to tell my mom that, first of all, I'm sorry for running away from her here in this world. When I'm speaking to him, it's really tough because he tells me there was a fight that happened between you and him before his passing. He says, every single day, my mom is haunted by my last words, and my mom is haunted by what happened between me and her before my death. He also tells me that before he died, there was an issue that he was having with the relationship here in this world, he tells me.
She was older.
He tells me that you were trying to get him better in his life. He tells me that you were trying to help him out, and you feel like that you couldn't have conversations with him because he would go running to her.
Yes, that's true.
And what's really hard is that you didn't realize all that was going on with your son until he had passed away. Your son tells me that there was also substances involved in his passing here in this world.
I do take medication, and I had it at my house open, so it could be a possibility.
I don't think that he got this from you, I'm going to be honest with you. I think there were things that he was taking from other people because I see that. What I have to tell you is this, is when I'm connecting with him, I'm asking him, well, why did you die? What had happened? Because there's always a reason, right? And he's telling me that had nothing to do with you, with him, or the fight that had happened that day. He says, Matt, he says, that wasn't even a piece of it. He says to me that the hardest thing that he had issues with here in this world is he tells me that he was desperately trying to find love here in this world when I'm connecting with him. He tells me that before being with that woman, that he was in and out of relationships here in this world.
Yes, it is.
He says to me, and Matt, tell my mom she was not the problem. I know that she loved me. I know that she cared about me. I know that I could have come back to her at any time or talked to her at any time, that you always left the door open for him. But he says to me, for some reason in his head, he felt like nobody was ever going to love him, that he was never going to be in a relationship. He struggled with this when I'm connecting with him.
That's true.
He says to me, and Matt, he says, I got to be honest. He says, I went with this person, but I truly wasn't getting the love that I thought that I was going to. He tells me that what he needs to let you know is that he's coming through for one reason. Your son is coming through to apologize, to say that he's sorry, but also to ask for your forgiveness. Because he knows the way that you tried to help him again and again and again and again. He says, Matt, you don't understand the woman that my mom was. She gave everything to me here in this world. And he tells me that you were trying to get him a job here in this world. He talks about, you just had talked about finding him work or getting him into another job.
That's true.
And he's also telling me about the issues that he was having with money and about you giving him your own money here in this world. He said, Matt, my mom gave me every tool, every opportunity, everything that she could. But he tells me it was my choice. I was the one that had to make my life better, and I didn't. So he needs you to know that. I keep seeing that there were hidden things from your son. Did you find notes of his?
I found 5 suicide letters that he had written, and I had just recently found a note in his room last week whenever I rearranged it and painted it.
He said to me, I'm sorry that you had to find those. He shows me that there were certain letters or notes. He showed me this notebook that he had that he tried to destroy here in this world. They were filled with terrible, terrible things, terrible thoughts, terrible feelings. And he tells me that he's actually glad that you found all 5 of them. All 5 of them said different things. You're looking at those notes saying, well, I don't understand. This note says this thing and this note says this. And why did my son actually die? Why did he choose to end his life? He said to me, that is just a journal in time to show you that his thoughts were not his own. And he's showing me, Matt, I did crazy things that I was not proud of. Like I said, I see that there were times where he had taken medication that wasn't his. I see that there were times when he did try to commit suicide in the past. He shows me all of these things when I'm connecting. He says, and Matt, all I had to do was ask my mom for help. He actually tells me at one point you tried to get him to a doctor.
Because he wanted to join the military, and as soon as the military finds out that you have a mental health disorder, you can't. But with my doctor, I started him on St. John's wort. It's something to help with anxiety and depression, but he stopped taking that because he was scared that the military would have found out about
Hello,
it.
pay attention. That was the pills I was talking about. So listen, this is where everything comes up. He tells me this, when you gave him those pills, I believe those pills worked for him.
They did.
And I believe that when he stopped taking them is when he went into that psychosis. He's telling me he had psychosis.
Yes, it does.
So please know that, listen, what's really tough is this, is that he needs you to know this for one reason, because you did everything that you could to help your son. And he says to me that he does not want you to regret one thing at the end of the day, because your son knows. And do you see how your loved ones will talk to me? How you protected your son where he needed help, but you knew that if he went to see a certain doctor, that he wasn't going to get into the military. Remember I was telling you your son was saying you were helping me with the job, getting into the job, right? And then you kept everything in hiding because you're like, you know what? Even though I don't want the military to know, so I'm going to do this for my son. I'm going to have him meet privately with this person and talk to this person. I'm going to help him to get his life back on track so that he can still have his goals, dreams, and desires. That's called being a mother.
Thank you.
And do you know that your son said to me that those are the things that he wants you to look back on? These are things that your son knows about, but these are things that you don't know about. These are still things that you struggle with because you don't think that you did enough.
I don't.
Your son says to me, Matt, he says, let me tell you something about my mom. He says, from when I was a little boy, he says, even before you were worked in psychology, right? He tells me that you were always neighborhood guidance counselor, that you saved countless and countless and countless people's lives. And I got to tell you something. Your son almost died 5 times. That's what those suicide notes show you. And you almost lost him 5 times, but you saved him every single one of those times. He tells me every single time he wrote those letters, you single-handedly were the one that kept him alive here in this world. So please know that your son is not mad at you. He's not upset with you. And unfortunately, sometimes there's things in life that we can't control. But know that one of the things is that he tells me, I never meant to leave you. Please tell my mom that I'm okay. Please tell her that I'm with her. And that every day that goes by, I'm a special angel, always and forever watching over her.